Hey guys, Kyle Cordiana here. I'm going to do my FLW recap for the final southwest stop of the Costa series on Lake Fort Gibson in Wagner, Oklahoma. It's just about 25 minutes away from my house. I've grown up fishing this lake. I spent 5 full days of practice on this lake, and it is the toughest I've ever seen Lake Fort Gibson. It's fall, it's a transition time, it's normally tough, but this is the toughest I've ever seen it, guys. After 5 days of practice, I think I saw 5 keeper bites. I had 2 days of those 5 where I completely zeroed. I didn't want anything to do with fishing this tournament. I didn't want to fish on that lake another day. It was brutally tough and not fun at all. But nevertheless, paid my entry fee. I'm going to get out there. It'd be dumb not to try. On day 1, I got really lucky. I had found a couple fish offshore, a couple areas where fish were a little bit deeper offshore. And then I had one area that was kind of a community hole. It's a dock area. And I went in there on the first morning, boat 84. There was already 7 boats there. I eased into one spot where I could get behind a dock and just fish. And I caught 15 pounds and 8 ounces. I didn't catch them all back there. I caught my limit back there. And then I went off and went offshore and coaled up a couple times offshore. But I was able to catch at least 12 pounds back there. And how I did that on day 1 was with this little Bionic jig. I think it's a 5/16 ounce Bionic jig paired with a Larew hammer craw. Excuse me. Got a hair in my mouth. Anyway, paired with a Larew hammer craw. Guys, this is the best trailer out there. If you're tired of your jig, casting your jig and your trailer sliding down it after a little bit of wear and tear, this is so hardy. It stays on your jig. It doesn't slide down. You can battle perch chewing on these little pinchers all day long, and sometimes they won't rip them off, but it's got a ton of action. So it's a strong, durable trailer. It can also be used as a standalone creature bait, but it is the best jig trailer that I've ever used. It's the best one out there. They got a lot of awesome colors, so go check out the Larew hammer craw. Jacob Wheeler helped design this thing. It's all ribbed on the back. It's really strong and durable, and like I said, a lot of action. This is an ultimate PBJ color by Bionic Jigs, Bionic Fishing. You guys can type in my coupon code KCortiana10. If you guys punch that in, you'll get 10% off your jigs. Get on there and get you some. I paired that with this Kistler 7.3 light, medium, heavy. This is a Z-bone. This is this new awesome Z-bone, guys. It's got this raw and finished blank. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of rough edge. And that just allows for just a pure raw, pure sensitive feel. It's really incredible. Paired that with a 7.3-to-1 Apex Elite. Again, 15-pound fluorocarbon. Wasn't really prepared to have to drag these fish through cables and docks. That wasn't my game plan. It was just the only spot I had a chance to fish. And I got just completely blessed that those fish were back there that morning. I was able to catch a limit and then wander around and try to catch a couple of coals out of the main lake. The main lake was just as tough. What I figured out in practice that was very important, I feel like in my success in this derby, was that the fish seemed to be feeding at night. It seemed like there was a good bite early in the morning, but throughout most of the day, the fish that were where anglers could access them along the bank and stuff, they weren't active. They didn't want to chase something fast, so I slowed everything down. I reduced the weights of my tungstens. I shrank down the size of my jigs. I got away from the heavy football jigs, the whole 9. The slower I could crawl out over rocks, or the slower I could let my worm fall to the bottom, it seemed like it just presented an opportunity to a fish that wasn't being aggressive as an opportunity that the fish couldn't pass up. I had a better chance of getting bit with a slow rate of fall, a slow moving bait. I think that was very important. I do think a lot of these fish are suspended out deep in the middle of the creeks, the middle of the lake under bait balls. And those fish are just incredibly hard to target and catch. I don't even recommend trying to figure that out. But if you do figure it out, please let me know. Because we could win a lot of fall tournaments together if we ever figured out that puzzle. The other thing that I was doing besides that jig was the Larew Tattletail worm in the color June bug. As this is a spinning rod. This is a 7-foot medium action, extra fast, helium 3 by Kistler. This is a phenomenal rod to throw your small shaky heads on, wacky rigs, things like that. Works good for a drop shot. But this is a really small little head. I can't remember where I got these. Now I have some people pour them for me. It's a little stand-up football head. It's got a 30-degree offset eye. It's wide gap, but it's a really light wire hook. It has a lot of flex to it. And I really like that for a light action rod and lighter line. It allows that hook to flex and stuff and stay pegged in the fish better. I was throwing that on 8-pound fluorocarbon on this setup. This is an Ardent Wire 2000 series reel. And again, I was just skipping that around docks, skipping it in the back of docks, and then out on the main lake, I had good rock flats. And the fish that were out on the main lake, they were offshore, but they were still pretty shallow. They were holding the rock flats that had deep water nearby, or some type of structure if you had a brush pile or something out there. And just slowly dragging that worm, just slowly, not even hopping it, just dragging it over rocks as slow as you could, and they just pick it up and start swimming off with it. Again, when I got around those docks, I didn't like having to use a spinning rod. It's kind of dangerous. If I could get away with using a bait caster with heavier line, 12 or 15 pound fluorocarbon, I did that. And I just Texas rigged the exact same worm. Again, it's a Larew Tattletail worm, June bug color. I paired that with a 5/16 ounce. That's a Shaker, Tungsten, and tackle. Guys, I'm starting to partner with Shaker, Tungsten. They've sent me a lot of tungsten products. They're really good tungsten, and they're allowing me to extend a discount to you guys. So if you go on to Shaker's website, I think it's Shaker TNT for tungsten and tackle, shakertnt.com. Go there, order you guys some tungsten, get them in green, black, pick your color, whatever you want. And they're offering a 25% discount if you use my code. So KC25, get 25% off all your tungsten, guys. And they got cool bobber stoppers. They got big bobber stoppers for the big 1.5 ounce, 2 ounce weights. So go shop there, get 25% off KC25. When I threw that Texas rig on here, this is a 7-foot medium heavy KLX by Kistler. This is the Texas Carolina rig worm jig rod. It's a mouthful, but it really does do all those things. It's really my favorite setup. This one, I had the Ardent Force. It's one of the newer bait casting reels they have. It's also a 7-to-1 gear ratio. It's got a really smooth casting system and a really unique way to manipulate how you adjust the reel. So you just pop that off, and it's got a little dial in here where you can do more or less as far as backing off the magnets. So it's a unique little strategy there for setting up your reel. I was throwing that with a 3/0 wide gap light wire hook. And again, it was just really important that I fish slow, and really it was just a jig and a little June bug worm. That's really all that caught all my fish in that tournament. I did catch a few on a biffle bug in practice, caught some shorts in practice, or I caught some shorts in the tournament on it. But that's it, guys. That's all I used to catch my weight. Day 2, I really sucked it up. Only had 6 pounds, 5 ounces. Just made bad decisions, bad timing, went places, people were already there, didn't get to fish where I thought I'd get to fish. Day 3, man, this was a heartbreaker, guys. I don't know if you watched it, but I ended up tying for first place. Had 9 keeper bites on day 3. I boated 5 of those 9 bites. I think I'm going to get the footage from FLW. I'll make a video for you guys. I jump off a really big one right at the nose of the boat. I jump off another one right at the side of the boat. So anyway, I lost that. I tied that tournament, and I lost the tiebreaker. And so I went from winning $80-something thousand to only winning 13, which I'm very happy with that. It's bittersweet when you're that close to just, catching one of your dreams, winning one of these big derbies. The other thing, guys, I want to bring to your attention, if you guys haven't seen the Clipping Coals by CalCoast, Clipping Coal 2.0, they made the original version better. They reduced the size of what goes in the fish's mouth to cause less stress on the fish. This is the money beam that goes with it, so you can sit there and coal your fish out and see which one's heavier. But again, this is just a really unique device that doesn't puncture the fish's mouth. You put that in the fish's mouth, and you squash it all the way down. It won't go anywhere. And to release it, thumb goes in the hole, finger here, and it just opens just like that. It's that easy. So anyway, it's like I always tell people, it's like a syringe. You just stick your thumb in there. Hopefully your thumb ain't like ginormous, then you might have to use a different appendage. But anyway, guys, go check that out. You can go to CalCoast, another place that offers a discount. You can put in Cordiana 15 and get 15% off your Clipping Coals, 15% off your money beam. They've got bait sacks, Cali clips, a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline from that creative company. So if you guys got any questions, put them in the bottom. I'll try to put the links to where you can go get some of these products, and I'll try to put the coupon codes down there too in case you forget what they are. I'm hoping not forget anything, guys, but that's the end of the season for me. I'm off to deer hunting. and doing the whole sponsor search, looking for things like that to help guarantee the tour is not so expensive. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And like I said, just let me know if you got any questions. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. Press the subscribe button. I need subscribers.